Hi, my name's Ian. I'm 53 and I've been with Alphagenix for just over 12 months.
So, Ian, what made you think in hindsight about possibly having low testosterone? What prompted it for you?
For me, it was probably, it was a point when I was struggling to pick things up that I generally should have been able to pick up. I've always been really active, and probably over a 12-month period, it basically dropped off to be where I was struggling to get out of bed. My mood was really bad. Probably just generally affecting my life in general, around people, quite insular, didn't want to speak to people, grumpy with the children, probably grumpy just generally with my wife as well. And yeah, just the strength side of it, I've always been active. So it got to a point where when it was affecting my fitness and just doing some gym work and things like that, the whole motivation side of it, that's when I kind of felt something was wrong.
Yeah.
Going to the doctors and trying to get blood tests to confirm my thought process was difficult. So yeah, it was just generally when I was feeling really low and just, went into some dark places. So that's when I knew something was definitely wrong.
Well, you explained there, it actually affected you in quite a few different areas, wasn't it? Because I think sometimes people think low testosterone just causes, weaker in the gym, or they think that it just means your libido's reduced. But you've actually gone through quite a few different areas that it affected you.
Yeah, I think for me, when you kind of look at information that's out there around low testosterone, there's almost like a tick box that kind of you're given, and when you start looking at them tick boxes of how you're feeling and generally, just general moods and things, that tick box really kind of, there was a lot of ticks there that were highlighted that kind of for me really stuck, that I needed to, I suppose you go looking for the answer and looking for that. I think it's low testosterone and I need it to be low testosterone because everything else that I'd tried didn't work.
Yeah.
And to not be given that opportunity to try the testosterone to kind of say, is it testosterone or not? That was a frustration. So, but yeah, the tick box was that list of symptoms was it has to be that.
Yeah. It fits so well into a lot of different in a lot of the different boxes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was things around like low iron and things like that I was kind of given that information and things. So you try the whole, all right, well, if that's what it potentially is, the GP's telling you that, then you kind of try these things, but there was just no improvement. So for me, I think in my heart and in my head, I always felt it was low testosterone.
Yeah. You mentioned it was about a year of symptoms, or I think did it build up quite gradually?
It's a real tricky one actually, because now that I've been on testosterone, it feels like it's not been 12 months. It feels like it's been probably 10 years.
Yeah.
I kind of feel that I've been really active. I've always been quite competitive in whatever I've done. So I've done a couple of Ironman triathlons. And when I've come away from it, I've always thought, could I have done better? And you always think that, but I almost think that I still had the symptoms there. I didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve. And I do think that it was due to probably low testosterone. I think I've always naturally been low in testosterone, but I just think that it's not been at a level where it's affected the other side of it, like the mood, libido, that side of things. It's been probably a good 12 months of 2 years that I probably prior to going on testosterone that actually made me go, it's been there for a while.
Wrong. Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? How you can work out, potentially looking back, that these symptoms had been building up for a while, only when you feel better.
Yeah, it's a real strange one. I mean, even after going on testosterone, for me, I've been, I don't know, through other conversations that we've obviously had, I actually think my symptoms have got better over time. I went through that initial stage of the 3-month, 6-month period where it really improved.
Yeah.
But I actually think the longer I've been on testosterone, the more I've acknowledged the benefits of it. And it's probably I don't feel like it's actually hit a plateau yet. I think I'm still making improvements, and I don't know if that's through life changes, through our conversations that we've had where we've, discussed, eating habits, things like that. But I still think that I'm still making improvements, slow ones and steady ones, but I'd still feel that when I sit back and acknowledge things that there's been more improvements and still are improved. There's improvements coming all the time for me.
Yeah. So you mentioned looking online, sort of thinking this could be low testosterone. In hindsight, what made you choose Alphagenix?
For me, it's from the back of it comes off the back of my wife. She's into women's health. Mm-hmm. She follows women's health a lot. It's probably more my wife that prompted me to look into other avenues of testosterone replacement therapy. So she's obviously on the internet quite a lot, looking at different podcasts and things like that. And she came across Ross Tompkins, and it was probably Ross listening to him, following him a little bit more, and just seeing him talk about Alphagenix. I did look into other companies off the back of knowing of Ross and Alphagenix. So it was just a case of then just putting the feelers out to kind of say, is Alphagenix the company that to go with and to kind of, look to pursue the TRT. So I looked at a couple of other companies, but Alphagenix just seemed to be a lot more approachable. I think it was just the support that seemed to be there. When I looked at it, the information was clear. It was probably just having that confidence in knowing and seeing what Ross was putting out there and talking about it that kind of pushed me more towards, okay, this company seems to be the right way to go. They were ticking all the right boxes as to the support side of things, the blood test side of things, obviously the support from yourself, from a GP perspective. So obviously there's a lot of myths out there about how it can affect your TRT in a negative fashion. So it was kind of negating that side of things as well.
Yeah.
And I think Alphagenix did that really well, that they did away with the myths of how negatively it impacts your life and promoted it in a much more positive light. So I think that was probably more the draw to factor for myself, but it was also the support there from the GP perspective. I think that was kind of took away the concerns and fears of the negative impacts that it has on your life. So I think altogether it was just generally the whole package that Alphagenix provided, and it just give you confidence to kind of pursue with that confidence of, I'm going down the right path here, that I'm going to be looked after and supported if there is anything that's needing to be, any concerns, anything like that. So
yeah. Did Ross's own journey then help with it? Because obviously he talks about being on testosterone and the big difference it made to his life. Was that something that resonated then in terms of the fact that he spoke about it quite openly?
Yeah, I think it does. I think when anybody speaks about, something like this, it's a bit of a taboo, topic for people. I think they speak about it in a negative fashion, that it's, it's for bodybuilders, it's all this, and it's, that side of things. And they don't talk about it in a positive manner of, actually, it's for general people. It's for men that are struggling with general day-to-day life of just managing to get out of bed, the difficulties, that side of things. It's that side of it. But Ross, I think with my wife being a physio, she can resonate with Ross's background of being a physio. So that gives you confidence that somebody's medically trained. They've got a good understanding about it. And when they're talking about it in a positive way that's research and factual in the way that it's been presented, it gives you confidence. So Ross's journey does give you confidence. I wouldn't say it was the ultimate, because Ross is on it must be real.
Yes, yeah.
For me, it just resonated that actually, and it sounded like he started it from a younger age than what I was expecting. So I think it was that side of things that it kind of clarified, actually, this could have been happening years and years prior to me actually going on TRT. So
Yeah.
it just the whole, Ross's journey definitely had an influence. But I'd say that the whole information of how it was presented as well from Alphagenix point of view, it was just supportive and clear and doing away with the myths as well of how it negatively impacts on you. So
yeah. So you mentioned about one aspect of Alphagenix being kind of the support process, and I think what sometimes is important to remember for sort of guys like me who've been on it for several years is that when you're looking at TRT or starting TRT, often it is a big deal, isn't it? You're changing, you're making a fairly big decision, and you can have sort of certain fears or uncertainties. You looking back, was there anything in particular that you were, or any concerns or things that we know now are myths that you're worried about TRT?
Yeah, I think for me it was just doing the research, just to kind of, negatively, obviously cancer is always mentioned when it comes to sort of like, certain drugs, medication, medicines, things like that. So I think it's just a case of doing the research to kind of try and get some factual information. Is there some facts out there that does say this will negatively impact on your life? There's talk of, it can do this and it can do that, but there's nothing factual out there to say it will give you cancer. It will cause X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
There's not much out there that actually factually does negatively advertise TRT. So I think for me, it was a case of looking at the negatives of, all right, they're saying this, but does it actually do that?
Yeah.
And with the help of my wife, she's a real fact finder.
Yeah.
She's definitely all about facts, and it's got to have some evidence there to back up, somebody's comments and research and things like that. So it really helped me on that side of things. I think anybody that's looking to get into TRT, for me, it was just a case of, look, what are the benefits of it, the positives and the negatives? And for me, the negatives didn't outweigh the positives, and the negatives didn't actually support or factually support the comments that were being made out there. So for me, it was more a case of what's TRT going to do for me?
Yeah.
Not just from the whole myth side of it, bodybuilders, that side of things again. Like I say, it was more how's this going to improve my life? And looking at getting out of bed with a bit of a spring in my step, looking at life in a bit more of a positive manner rather than being all dark and gloomy and miserable. It was kind of a no-brainer for me. It was more, I suppose in some ways, is it fearful that it's going to change your life in such a way that can you believe that it's going to actually impact your life in that way? And for me, it's, without getting probably emotional, it has impacted my life just so much. And it's impact it has on your other people around you.
Yeah.
You're actually positively impacting on their lives as well, because you're not the grumpy old man. You're not getting out of bed. You can go up and down steps without feeling like your knees and joints are of a 90-year-old. It's all that side of it. So I'd say for me, it was always a no-brainer. You have to try it for me. And if it didn't work, then at least I've ticked it off to say, I've given it a go. It didn't work, but I've never looked back. And I don't think, if anybody asked me to, would you try and recommend TRT, it'd be do your research, but I think you'll find that the positives just massively outweigh the negatives.
Yeah.
And the negatives actually, I'm not 100% sure that they're true anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it can be absolutely, like you said, it can be absolutely life-changing. It certainly was for me as well. And exactly like you put it, like any treatment, there's pros and cons. The problem, I think, with TRT is it's actually working out what are the actual factual cons, because there's so many myths and rhetoric and biased against it, in a sense, like you say, or associations, stigmas maybe, saying that it is all about bodybuilders and things. Whereas exactly like you've spelled out very nicely, is that there's so many aspects or positives potentially for appropriate guys out there. It's about well-being. It's about quality of life. It's about, waking up with good energy. It can improve people's mood, reduce anxiety, improve their energy, all of these aspects. And I think exactly like you said, do your research, but also speak to people who understand this topic and can explain exactly like you said, the actual pros and cons of it.
Yeah, I think as well for me it was I think having the support of Alphagenix where the blood tests and not just the blood tests that just tick off just a few areas of your blood sample. It's looking into your blood samples in a fine detail, and I think that also helps to support going on to TRT, and certainly with Alphagenix itself, that it's you've got not just a average kind of blood test. It actually ticks off a lot of areas of your blood sample that could give you them indicators of that it's not working, or there's some alarm bells that you need to sort of maybe ease off on TRT or reduce your dosage, things like that. I think that also gives you confidence that, look, I'm being looked after here. It's if anything should become alarming, impact in your blood tests, it will be picked up. And it just gives you that reassurance that you're ticking along nicely. Yep.
Yeah.
Every conversation that we've had, our 3-month mark, it's always been, yep, they're ticking along nicely. There's no alarm bells. This is in the right range. There's nothing, going high. Cholesterol's, for me, it's been, my cholesterol's been a little bit high, but it's coming down.
Yeah.
You've got all them signs, and to be able to kind of make some alterations in your dosage or your lifestyle changes that can actually help to improve your symptoms as well. So I think that's really helpful as well for me.
Yeah, make sure you're on the right track in terms of how you feel, but also what's your health doing, which is just as important in a sense.
Yeah, it's always been for me about just quality of life. I'm at an age now where it's not about trying to go out and do a PB in a run or do something that's a PB all the time. It's all just about looking towards longevity of life, being able to spend time with my kids, to be able to just, run around with them and just be active and just, be generally happy around, in life, basically. It's a whole package really, but it's not just about a performance side of things. It's about just, like I say, the longevity of life.